Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.
Pottery has many techniques that affect how a piece will look. Learn how Catherine Stasevich uses wood firing to create one-of-a-kind mugs.
I got started making pottery when I was just a little kid. I was taking classes at the Kalamazoo Institute of Arts, and I started taking their ceramics courses, and pottery just really took off for me. I think it was something about how I was making useful objects that were not just beautiful pieces, but I could bring them into my kitchen and use them, and they had a function. Something about the function of art really appealed to me. So I'm going to teach you how to make these square mugs that I make. And this is the basic shape that I use for a lot of my vessels. I like it because it's a soft and organic shape, but it's also something that gives me a lot of flat panels to paint on, which flat makes a big difference as far as painting goes. So I start out with a flat slab of clay that I cut into these crosses using a template that I made. A simple template. It's a piece of cardboard. And I give it a little bit of movement so that it's not just a machined looking, square cup, by rolling these arms out in sort of a way that it's an even way, but it makes it a fairly uneven pattern. You can see how these are moving as I roll down the clay. And the firing I use is the wood firing, and that really makes these vessels blossom. A lot of these colors that I use actually end up being white in any other kiln. So that's a really cool thing, that this is the only kiln I can use that makes such vibrant colors. I was really drawn to the community of firing high temperature kilns and the excitement of stoking big, huge logs into the front of this kiln and having the flames rush out to try and eat my face while I'm firing this kiln. It's a real rush to be doing this, and I love doing it. I love seeing the wild variation that comes out of the kiln. I get more variation and surprises in my colors in this firing type than you do in a low fire or an electric kiln or even a gas kiln. I have this silicone hot pad that I picked up in a kitchen store that has this nice concentric circles pattern. I like this pattern because it gives me sort of these nice ground lines, or if I want to do something that's a water theme, it kind of makes the ripples and the waves in the water. It's a really versatile pattern. And I just put that in the center that's going to be the bottom of my cup. And I give it a good whack. And it gives me a nice pattern there that, goes up the sides a little bit so that it makes an uneven ground form. I'm really inspired by nature when I make my work. I tend to work with landscapes that I've either lived in or visited and that have really connected with me, and I like to focus in on the plants and the animals that live in that landscape, and I'll try and build a vessel around, say, maybe a species of duck. So these little guys, they winter over in the brackish waters of North Carolina, and they forage for shrimps and crustaceans and shellfish. And so I started out with the idea of, I'm going to make this casserole about these ducks. And I built the whole landscape around those two ducks on the casserole. So then we fold up, and I get this corner to come together, and I pinch it together on the outside. I got my creativity and my ability to make from my mom. She always made when I was growing up, and she'd go from, you know, one medium to another. She did a lot of embroidery when I was really young, and she switched to some, you know, craft painting, and she started working with mosaic glass. And when I fell into ceramics, I knew that was something that she would really love to do too. So I told her, hey, you should take a ceramics class with me. You would be totally into this. And she was. She fell into it really, really hard, and it's great being able to do this with her. So then I like to take away these sharp, kind of messy looking corners. It makes a little bit more of a finished look to the cup. You know, makes it a nicer surface to paint on too. So I just take my knife and I just cut those edges off. I leave a little bit extra at the bottom, and then I clean up my top. I don't do it in a really square way. I like to kind of follow the line that's created by the uneven sides. So this one's going to have one corner that's up really nicely, I can tell already. And we have a pretty nice mug.